One Pepe costs almost nothing. Not $1, not 1 cent, not even one Indonesian rupiah. And that makes Pepe psychologically fascinating. Someone sees the price and thinks, it is so cheap. What if Pepe reaches $1? If that happened, I would be rich. There is only one problem. There are approximately 420 trillion PP tokens, and that changes the mathematics completely. As of August 2026, Pepe still has a market capitalization of roughly $1 billion despite its microscopic unit price. CoinGecko. In Indonesia, Pepe is also not some obscure token that only exists on a decentralized exchange. It is currently included in CFX's official crypto asset list as PEPE-915. So what exactly is PEPE? Why did a token with practically no conventional utility become worth billions at its peak? Why does a frog on the internet have a liquid global market? And when you buy Pepe, what are you actually betting on? Because with Pepe, understanding the meme is useful. Understanding the mathematics is considerably more useful. Let's begin. Pepe belongs to a very different category from Bitcoin, Ethereum, or USDC. It is a Memecoin. It launched on Ethereum in April 2023 and draws its identity from the Pepe the Frog internet meme. CFX itself describes Pepe as a Memecoin inspired by the Pepe the Frog character created by Matt Fury. Central Financial X. CFX. More importantly, Pepe does not need an elaborate technological story to explain its existence. It does not operate its own Layer 1 blockchain. It is not trying to maintain a dollar peg. It does not represent shares in a company, and its primary market narrative is not based on conventional business cash flow. Pepe is an ERC20 token living on Ethereum. Its power comes primarily from something much less technical. Recognition, culture, community, liquidity, speculation, and attention. That sounds unserious. Financial markets have repeatedly demonstrated that unserious things can still involve very serious amounts of money. Pepe had one enormous advantage from the beginning. The cultural asset already existed. Pepe the Frog had circulated across internet culture long before a cryptocurrency token appeared. The crypto project did not first need to invent a mascot and then hope millions of people recognized it. The meme was already recognizable. That matters enormously in the attention economy. A new DeFi protocol may need 20 pages to explain what it does. A frog requires considerably less onboarding. People recognize it, people remix it, people share it, and crypto communities can convert that recognition into a narrative. CFX identifies community support, popularity, trends, and FOMO as major forces behind Memecoin demand. Central Financial X, CFX. This gives Pepe a different kind of network effect. Not necessarily technological adoption, cultural adoption. And in Memecoin markets, culture can become liquidity. Now we need to discuss the number that changes almost every Pepe conversation. The supply. Pepe's token supply is approximately 420 trillion, 690 billion tokens. Etherscan identifies the established Pepe Ethereum contract, while current market data tracks roughly 420.69 trillion tokens in circulation. Etherscan, that giant supply, explains why the price of one Pepe looks unbelievably small. And this creates one of the most common psychological mistakes in crypto. People confuse low unit price with low valuation. They are not the same thing. Imagine one company has 10 shares worth $100 each. Its value is $1,000. Another company has 1 million shares worth 1 cent each. Its value is $10,000. The second asset has a much cheaper unit price, but the total asset is worth 10 times more. Crypto works the same way. You cannot judge whether Pepe is cheap simply by counting how many zeros appear before the first number. You need to look at market capitalization. This is where mathematics becomes useful. Suppose someone says, Pepe is below 1 cent. Imagine when it reaches $1. Take the approximate circulating supply, 420 trillion tokens. Now imagine every Pepe is worth 1 cent. The implied valuation would be approximately 4.2 trillion US dollars, not billion, trillion. Now make Pepe worth $1. The implied valuation becomes approximately $420 trillion. The purpose of this calculation is not to predict what Pepe can or cannot do. Markets change, supply can change through burns, demand can grow, but price targets need mathematical context. The correct question is rarely, can one Pepe reach this price? The better question is, if it reaches this price, what market capitalization would that imply? 1 zero can make a crypto token look cheap. Market capitalization is considerably harder to fool. One reason Pepe is interesting is precisely because it does not need to pretend to be complicated. Current token profiles describe Pepe as an Ethereum ERC20 Memecoin with no conventional governance function and no significant built-in utility. Its established contract also uses a no-token tax structure rather than charging an automatic percentage every time users buy or sell. MetaMask. That simplicity means Pepe cannot easily be valued using the same tools you might use for a company or even some utility tokens. There is no quarterly revenue, no dividend, no discounted cash flow model, no obvious network fee that determines token demand. Instead, the market asks different questions. How strong is the community? How liquid is the market? How recognizable is the meme? Is attention increasing? Is capital rotating into Memecoins? Are traders willing to take risk? And is Pepe still culturally relevant? Those questions sound less scientific. That does not make them less important to the price. In conventional investing, people often search for fundamentals behind the price. With Pepe, the narrative itself becomes part of the fundamental. CFX describes Memecoin prices as heavily dependent on popularity, community support, supply and demand, trends, and speculative interest. It also warns that once popularity fades, prices can fall rapidly. Central Financial X, CFX. That explains why Memecoins can behave differently from assets with measurable business activity. If a company becomes unpopular on Twitter, but its profits double, the company still has profits. If a pure Memecoin loses attention, there may be considerably less underneath the narrative to support demand. That is why the community matters. Memes matter, liquidity matters, exchange availability matters, and broader crypto risk appetite matters. With Pepe, attention is not simply marketing around the asset. Attention is part of the asset. There is another reason Pepe deserves more analysis than a newly launched anonymous Memecoin. It survived. Pepe launched in 2023. 3 years later, it still maintains a substantial holder base, global liquidity, and a market capitalization around the billion-dollar level as of August 2026. Etherscan showed more than 500,000 addresses holding the established Ethereum token, while market aggregators placed its capitalization at roughly $1.1 billion at the time of this review. Etherscan, that does not guarantee another 3 years. Survival is not a promise, but longevity does provide information. Thousands of Memecoins appear. Many disappear before most investors ever hear their names. Pepe became large enough to move from an internet joke into a persistent part of the broader crypto market. CFX itself lists Pepe alongside established popular memecoins such as Dogecoin and Shiba Inu when discussing the category. Central Financial X, CFX, that does not suddenly give Pepe conventional fundamentals. It tells you that the meme has demonstrated unusual staying power. Now the Indonesian context. Pepe is included in CFX's current official list of crypto assets. The July 20th, 2026 list identifies Pepe, ticker Pepe, CFX Asset ID, PEPE-915. This matters because foreigners living in Indonesia sometimes assume a token they trade globally is automatically available through Indonesia's regulated ecosystem. That is not always true. In Pepe's case, however, the asset itself is currently present in the CFX market structure. And this is not merely a paper listing. CFX's daily trading summary updated on August 16th, 2026 showed Pepe activity with a daily closing reference price around 0.0477 rupiah per token and reported transaction value of approximately 4.35 billion rupiah. Central Financial X, CFX. That gives us an important conclusion. Pepe has a real rupiah-denominated market presence in Indonesia. But again, being permitted for trading does not mean the regulator recommends it. Tradability and investment quality are two completely different questions. Pepe becomes psychologically even more interesting in Indonesia. At CFX's recent reference price, one Pepe was worth only a small fraction of 1 rupiah. Central Financial X, CFX. That means a relatively modest amount of rupiah can buy millions of tokens. And humans like large numbers. Owning 20 million Pepe feels very different from owning 0.002 Bitcoin. But portfolio mathematics does not care which number feels more impressive. If your position is worth 1 million rupiah, it is worth 1 million rupiah. Whether the wallet shows 0.001 of something or 50 million of something does not change your economic exposure. This is why Memecoin traders should separate the number of tokens they own from the percentage returns they need. Millionaire in token count is not the same thing as millionaire in rupiah. Pepe's popularity creates another practical risk: imitation. There are many tokens using Pepe, frog imagery, similar tickers, similar branding, and variations of the same meme. The established Ethereum Pepe token is identified on Etherscan by contract 0x69825081454454CE3 25D DBE47A25D4EC3D2311933 Etherscan. This is why I bought Pepe is not enough information. Which Pepe, which contract, which blockchain, which regulated provider? If you are using an Indonesian provider, confirm that the asset corresponds with the Pepe recognized within the provider's supported market. Do not identify a cryptocurrency from the picture of the frog. Blockchains are surprisingly tolerant of copycats. People sometimes criticize Pepe by saying, but it has no real utility. That criticism is reasonable, but it also misses something. The market already knows Pepe is a Memecoin. The larger risks are what happen around that fact. First, volatility. Memecoin prices can rise and fall extremely quickly. Second, FOMO. A rapidly rising chart can make risk disappear psychologically, just when risk may actually be increasing. Third, large holder activity. A significant sell order from a large wallet can affect market liquidity and sentiment. Fourth, narrative risk. If capital and attention move to another Memecoin, demand can change rapidly. Fifth, market manipulation. CFX specifically warns that the Memecoin sector can contain pump and dump and rug pull activity and describes the category as highly speculative and high risk. Central Financial X, CFX, and sixth, imitation. Buying a fake PEP can destroy the entire investment thesis before the market has even moved. The question is not, does Pepe have risks? Of course it does. The better question is, do you understand which risk you are actually taking? Before buying Pepe, ask 5 questions. Number 1, why am I buying? Because I believe Memecoin demand will increase? Because I understand the community? Because I am making a short-term speculation? Or simply because the price looks cheap? Those are very different reasons. Number 2, what market capitalization does my target price imply? Do the mathematics. Do not simply remove zeros from the price until the result makes you happy. Number 3, how much loss can I financially absorb? CFX itself recommends that investors avoid putting all their funds into Memecoins because of their extreme volatility and risk. Central Financial X, CFX. Number 4, what would make me exit? A price target? A loss limit? A change in market structure? A collapse in narrative? If you have no exit condition, you do not really have a strategy. You have a hope. And number 5, am I buying the correct token? This sounds embarrassingly basic. It is also capable of saving 100% of your money. This is where Sungeza Live fits. We are not here to tell every client, buy Pepe, sell Pepe, or hold Pepe. Our role is different. Sungeza Live works with foreigners whose financial activities intersect with digital assets in Indonesia. We operate as a crypto exchange aggregator, helping clients understand and compare access through regulated Indonesian crypto providers. For an asset such as Pepe, the practical questions may include: which regulated providers currently support it? What local liquidity is available? How does a foreigner's account profile affect access? How does the client move between digital assets and rupiah when required? And how does Indonesian banking fit into the wider financial setup? For eligible foreign clients, Sungeza Live can also assist with navigating Indonesian banking onboarding, subject to the requirements and final approval of the relevant bank. The asset may be Pepe, Bitcoin, USDC, Trump, or another digital asset available within Indonesia's regulated ecosystem. We begin with the client's objective, then the asset, then the route, because knowing which coin you want is only one part of navigating the financial system. Pepe may be one of the easiest cryptocurrencies to explain. It is a Memecoin, built on Ethereum, inspired by one of the internet's most recognizable memes. It does not need an elaborate technological narrative, but that simplicity makes valuation harder. There is no corporate revenue to forecast, no dollar peg to analyze, no obvious fundamental cash flow. The asset depends heavily on community, culture, liquidity, speculation, and attention. And despite a unit price that looks almost impossibly small, Pepe already represents a crypto asset with a market value measured in billions of dollars around the periods when demand has been strongest. In Indonesia, Pepe is currently recognized within the CFX crypto asset list as PEPE-915 and has active rupiah-denominated trading activity. That makes PEPE accessible within Indonesia's crypto market infrastructure. It does not make it predictable. So before asking, how many Pepe can I buy? Ask, what percentage of my portfolio am I risking? Before asking, can Pepe reach 1 cent? Ask, what market capitalization would that require? And before buying anything with a frog logo, verify the asset. If you are a foreigner in Indonesia and need help navigating Pepe or other digital assets through Indonesia's regulated crypto ecosystem, contact Sungeza Live. We help international clients navigate regulated crypto access, exchange aggregation, rupiah liquidity, and Indonesian banking onboarding. WhatsApp and Telegram at Sungaza Live Sungaza Live, helping international clients understand the asset and navigate the system around it.